This Dental Insiders podcast has been brought to you by Dr. DDS, generating demand and driving revenue for dental equipment manufacturers through innovative email programs and product reviews. Learn more at drdds.com. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Insiders with your host, Matthew Petchel and Michael Dunn. The Dental Insiders is a podcast for dentists, dental team members, and industry professionals. We'll share stories and lessons from clinicians and industry visionaries with the goal of providing an entertaining and informative look at the industry we share. Our guest today is the one, the only, Michael McCarthy. Woo! There he is.
Thanks for having me. Honored to be on this this radical new and innovative podcast.
You know, we talk about providing an entertaining and informative look, and I think today is going to be about as entertaining and informative as it gets with Mike McCarthy.
You know, it's funny. I look at that intro and all the different things. He fits everything except for clinician, but he probably has done surgery on himself.
I think I would let him, do a small, resin or sealant for sure.
I'd love to try as long as there was no legal implications afterwards. But
we'll take a trip down to Belize or something and work it all out there. This is taking a weird turn, so let's get right into the questions. So you're one of these guys. You are ubiquitous in the industry. You're the quintessential mover and shaker. At least that's what I think, and I think that's what the world thinks. So tell us, what are you doing these days?
Wow, a lot more than I had planned about a year ago. But what I'm doing right now is consulting for a couple healthcare and medical device companies that want to have a play in dentistry, and using a skill set that I learned back in grad school of really how to build a business properly, as opposed to, hey, I've got a toothbrush, let me enter and spend all my money. So really business consulting, strategy consulting, while still being networked into the industry, which I love. And I know you guys do too, which is dentistry.
Yep. So, and for those of you who may not know Michael's background, Michael is, he's just one of those creative guys. Like when I think of a creative guy, I think of Michael. He's just sort of, his mind is brilliant, strategic, and creative. And for how long were you the creative sort of force at Landmark 360? 10 years, 12 years, 15?
15 years.
15, wow.
And what a great ride. And just still a magnificent company and creative force, but really exposed me to the global dental marketplace. And as I said, what a ride. I came from, and Matt and Michael, you know this, but I came from the pharmaceutical world,
right,
where, we were dealing with gajillion-dollar budgets and mega brands of drugs and surgical instruments to dental. And I thought, dental will be a walk in the park. It's going to be easy. I sunk my teeth into it and didn't let go. I'm hoping, as with you guys, to continue to evolve this industry and give the clinicians the due as equivalent, if not more important, healthcare professionals. So, loved my years at 360, and really enjoying a different course on my own, at my own pace now, with some great clients.
Yeah, cool. So 15 years is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we first met in 2002.
Woo!
So we're almost we probably all know each other about that same amount of time.
Yeah.
I normally get tired of people after about 5 years. So this
the
podcast,
fact that
just
the three
so
of
we
us
can
are here together.
we can probably set the expiration date right on this podcast.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Las Vegas had a lot to do with our friendship.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
That's right. So when did you? I want to talk a little bit about. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, and I have a feeling we're going to have so much to talk about. We're going to have to break this into two parts. But I want to talk because I'm a creative guy and sort of think creatively. And when did you go back to your childhood? When did you figure out you were creative and different than everybody else? Like, I know when it was for me. When was it for you?
Wow. I had two very liberal parents. both educators. My dad was a psychiatrist, my mom a psychotherapist. But I think the defining moment was a grade school art class when a nun held up a picture that I was working on and compared it to a major artist. I was doing pointillism at the time, and I think it was, probably a G.I. Joe or a Hot Rod or something.
Right.
But the fact that I got acknowledgement and then compared to something really, really set me on my way. So I thank her eternally for that. But that really led into, okay, I'm going to explore the field of art and use it as an outlet.
Wow. So psychiatrist, psychotherapist, parents, dinner at the McCarthy household must have just been either an awesome event or excruciating.
A good combination of both, Michael.
Yeah. So back to the theme of creativity. A lot of people, I think most people think or would like to think they're creative. Are they right or wrong? Are most people creative?
I think everybody has the potential to be a creative person. What it comes down to, and what I tell any of my people who have reported to me or who I work with, is at some point in your life, hopefully earlier than later, if you acknowledge it and are not fearful of it, and that validation of someone saying, I like that idea, I like that photograph, I like that screenplay, I like that copy that you wrote for an ad. When you get the positive reinforcement, it's kind of like pulling the cap off the creative bottle, and you can let go. But people fear the word for some reason, as if it's like a foreign language, like ancient Greek or Aramaic, and they're just much more comfortable saying, yeah, I'm not a creative person. So thankfully, I've embraced it. Matt, I know you have. Michael, I know you have. There's definitely people who are confident in their creativity, and there's those that aren't. But let me put a disclaimer. For every big, great, successful idea I've had, there's 100 that people have scratched their head and gone, what is this guy thinking of? Right. And that, to me, is really the creative process. You got to be willing to say, you know what, let's change Coca-Cola's color to green. Yeah, not going to happen, but at least someone had the chutzpah to make the suggestion and at least put it on the table for discussion.
Well, and I think a lot of times the people who are not afraid to say something crazy at least gets the other people in the room thinking, all right, well, boy, whatever my idea is, it can't possibly be as crazy as that. So it starts, I'm with you there. I love to start, whenever I start a new consult or with a new client, a lot of times the first concept or the first ideas I share are the radical ones. Maybe they're the ones everybody's been thinking, people in the company, other management, maybe even other agencies they've talked to, but no one said out loud. And now all of a sudden you can go, let's change the color to this. And then it starts a discussion. It's like, okay, well, that's over there. What can we accomplish?
Yeah.
What can we do that's different that we can accomplish? And I think it's an important point. A place, it's at least a place to start. Creativity, there are 1,000 ways to be creative. There's 1,000 ways to come up with an idea. But I think it's almost like you're a performer or an actor. If you are afraid to fail, well, you'll probably never even go out there, right? So you won't. We're watching American Idol right now, which we watched a long time ago, and now we've kind of come back to final season. And my daughter, who's 9, she kind of plays the piano a little bit, but she's not sure, and so we're trying to get her to watch it because it's these people, those demos that they have to do, or those auditions. I mean, I'm not sure I could do it. I feel like I'm a confident person, and I'm like, wow, boy, there's so much room for failure there but I think the true kind of creative pioneers, visionaries, mavericks, whatever, you're just willing to say, I don't care what anybody thinks. I believe I'm right. I may or may not be right. It'll be proven in the end, but I've got to do this. It's in me to go do this.
Yeah. And I'll put in my 2 cents here, because you guys both come from more of an agency background, and I come from more of a client side background, or the marketing manager or director at a company that you guys are either pitching or that we're working with. And when someone comes in the meeting like you guys and throws out that crazy idea or that stupid idea or that idea that they might be fearful to say, it helps guys like me get away from that everyday, well, do we need to change the way our booth looks this year sort of idea of creativity and marketing.
Yeah.
And and then once that crazy idea is out of the table, even we're like, no. The conversation is now open, and we're not just focusing or talking about how do we make incremental, tiny changes to what we've been doing, and how do we evolve? How do we move the industry and, of course, whatever product we have forward? And to me, that's one of the most important aspects of this whole concept and conversation of creativity.
Right.
Yeah, I just add one more note, and I think it's a challenge for all of us. And I've listened to the Dental Insiders. I've been a fan since you guys came on board, but a segment of your audience, there's this eternal conflict of being creative versus we're marketing professionally trained clinicians who can't have crazy ideas or think they can't have crazy ideas. They can't hang from the ceiling of their operatory and do a class 3 restoration. So there's that, struggle of forces. I just think we got to find the balance. And I've tidal waved some people and not gotten the business because they just weren't ready for that or to embrace it.
Right. So what do you? We do have a very segmented or varying. That's not the right word. What's the right word? We have a broad audience. A lot of different.
Our audience is broad within a dental niche.
Right. So I feel like we're really now talking more about the industry side where we're talking about companies. So what would you say, other than them, hiring you to take them through this, how do you get that marketing manager or that VP of sales or that to stop, or not to stop, but just to maybe change the way they're thinking a little bit, or at least consider new ideas? How do you shake up from the same old? My favorite line is there's an axiom that's, and I think it's a Japanese one that says, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered down. So what they're saying is don't stand out, right? Yeah. And that's very much part of their culture. Don't stand out, just kind of go with the flow. As Americans, we're a little bit different, and I don't know, maybe even, and I'm thinking about the different cultures that are in the dental industry. German is one. I think Germans like to stand out a little bit and be different. They're a unique culture. So how do we get these people, the managers, to do different things, take risks and do different things?
Yeah, Matt, I love that one. I'm going to steal that one from you because 9 out of 10 times in professional dental marketing, that's the case. Someone either wants to take the easy route or just check it off the list because there is so much to do. But I do two things. One, I do research on who the person is. If they were home raised from a salesperson within the same organization and promoted up and up and up, they have their own ideas of how something should work. When I was out in the field, this is how I sold. And that's very different from what I'm seeing more and more today of classically marketer trained people who are open to the 4 Ps, who are open to branding process, who are open to identity. But the one thing I've been doing, and I brush off that 25-year-old MBA that I have, data doesn't lie. So if I can go in there with what are dentists doing, what are hygienists doing, what are specialists doing, and have some good qualitative, quantitative data to back it up, that's the insurance policy I need to get an idea through. The days of sizzle and showmanship, yeah, they're fun, but people have a limited amount of money to spend on an impacting or hopefully impacting course of action. I'm going to limit their risk as much as possible while still providing, hopefully, a really good innovative idea or solution.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. It's always interesting to kind of another thing I get a lot. This is where I wanted to go. I kind of lost my train of thought, but I got it back. But I'm back.
Yay!
A little song.
Yeah, let's stick to
that. Okay.
Yeah.
I was taking a risk there.
You were,
I did,
and the nail that stood up got hammered down.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
squashing me. Yeah. I get this a lot too. I wonder if you get this, is that when I propose an idea, and it's maybe to somebody who's a little bit older, who's been in the industry a while, maybe longer than me, I get, well, I've got 35 years of experience. So my 35 years of experience tells me that that's not, how do you get someone who, and not discounting their experience, because that is, experience is great, right? And it provides a lot, but the world is incredibly different in the last 35 years, unbelievably different in the last 10, and talk about the last 5 with everything with social media and branding, all the different pieces. How do you get them to see there's another side?
Wow. That's the secret, I think, to all of our success, but it's a process. It's not a silver bullet. It's not a hope and a prayer, but showing them what's out there. And Matthew, you nailed it with what's happened in the last 5 years. Digital has just taken over everything, media, how we communicate with each other. And either you have one of these stoic people who's going to stand their ground and say, this is the way I do it. Not my usual favorite person to work with, but I'll see what I can do. But exploring the new media vehicles, looking at where the technology has come, and everything you said, Matt, but I'd add one more thing. The United States of America, or North America, used to be the central hub for all things dental. Our industry and the healthcare industry has just exploded on a global front, both from consumer need and from technology innovation. I've done more international travel in the past 6 months than I did in the past 15 years. And I think we have to get off our high horse or ivory tower a little bit and look what's going on in the Soviet Union, in Brazil, in Pan Asia, Korea, China, and not just technology, but treatment modalities, how therapy is introduced on any healthcare front. So I try to do a little bit of education without being condescending or, hey, this is the way it goes. But there is a point with a rock that won't budge. I'll stop trying to make it budge. And try to seek out someone that's willing to move, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that we met almost 15 years ago.
Woo.
And we've worked very closely together and during a lot of that time. And over all of that time, actually, you've been someone that I've considered to be a mentor. And I always thought, wow, Michael McCarthy's living the dream. I always thought that. And so I got to ask, are you living the dream, or what is your dream job? Or, does a dream job, that concept, does that even exist?
Wow. I mean, the fantasy dream job would be, to instruct on a fly fishing river. Anyone in the dental profession who doesn't know how to fly fish, I'd love to do just that introduction lesson.
Okay, so let's write that. Let's write that down. We've got a business.
We might be on something
to start after we stop this recording.
So that would be the fantasy one. I love what I'm doing now, but occupational hazard, I don't think I'd go to dental school. But you know what? I think I might try becoming a registered dental hygienist. Nice. I think and it's still, I hate to say dream or fantasy, who knows what the future brings. And that's the beauty. So maybe, Matt, we can go back one day, maybe 10 years from now, and tick off that clinician box. And and that's where we'd go. But it's a profession that I really admire. And it's something I think I'd be really good at. So there's the reality dream job.
Nice. Very good.
Well, good. Well, I'll tell you what, that is going to wrap up part 1 of our podcast with Michael McCarthy. We're going to cut here and join us for part 2, where we're going to talk more about branding for dentists and where the industry is going in general.
Thanks for watching. Hope you watch part 2.